All right, so if you guys are not aware, there's a lot of drama around the video game called Ready or Not. You're probably asking yourself, why is that? Well, the game is being review bombed pretty heavily right now on Steam. I would say damn near massively because of the issue of censorship. Apparently, the developers have decided to bend the knee to supposed stricter console standards and censor the game around gore, nudity, and all that stuff, simply because they're trying to be a little bit more PG, I suppose, for their upcoming console release. Now, people have a lot of issues with this. The game actually is not doing that bad. It's got an all-time 24-hour peak of 9,642. You can see the numbers went slightly higher recently compared to what they were not that long ago. And if you go to the forums, this is where the entire picture is getting painted. People are clearly not happy. Psychotic player base. Are the changes only going to be on console? Will these affect PC? The final word on console changes. Requested a refund. Censorship arguments. Why are you censoring this game? We're going to go over a few of these forum posts, but first, I want to cover this particular article from PC Gamer. So get your popcorn ready. The censorship is a step too far. Ready or Not is getting review bombed after developers sanitized the game to adhere to stricter console standards. Now, me personally, I haven't played this game, so I know absolutely zero about this game. But from what I did see about it, it is pretty brutal. So I can see why people will probably be upset if there is any form of censorship in this game whatsoever. But it says, Ready or Not, the SWAT sim shooter, is known for its brutality. You can blow the head off an enemy combatant, dismember bodies, or just hit them in the back of the head with your gun. It's certainly not to everyone's taste, but for those who like it, the gore seems to really matter. But Ready or Not's developers are dialing the gore and violence down just a tad. Player-induced dismemberment still has a large presence in the game, but it's a little more limited as to when it occurs, a recent post said. You can no longer dismember enemies when they're dead, but the level of dismemberment itself, when it occurs, was not actually toned down. Some character art, which involves torture, has also been tuned down. The tortured police informant on Narcos is still missing fingers, eyes, and covered in fresh wounds and blood, but a little less so. So they're essentially cutting it back. They're not allowing you to dismember dead bodies. That you can dismember them apparently when they're alive, but the moment they're dead, I mean, that's it. You can't do that anymore. So that sucks. I can understand why people would be upset. I can see, we want to know why? Because developers have to stop giving people something and then taking it away a year after they got their money. If you've been enjoying the fruits of someone else's money, purchasing your product that you sold them a year ago, and then a year and a half later, you want to make it a little bit more PG so you can make more money for people who probably shouldn't be playing this game to begin with. If somebody is so offended for this game that they if dismembering dead bodies is the make or break for them, they're like, oh, I'm okay with dismembering live people. I'm okay with dismembering people who are alive, but dismembering people who are dead, no, 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 no. I can't do that. If people are that upset over it, they probably should not be playing this game, right? I don't see the reason to tone down the game, especially since here's the real reason why people are upset. Not only did you take their money and change the game a year plus later, but you are also going down the slippery slope. The moment you start censoring this game, the moment you start actually making these changes, guess what happens? People are going to request more changes, right? People are going to say, well, we thank you for censoring the dismemberment for dead bodies, but we really don't like the fact that we have to see dismemberment for people who are alive. Can you take dismemberment completely out of the game? Can you do that for us? Or can you censor the torture scenes? Or can you censor XYZ? This is a slippery slope. And anytime a developer goes down this rabbit hole, they always come out the wrong side. This person says, I can't imagine. Actually, they say other changes include less explicit nudity for a handful of civilians and a suspect, and a substantial effort to present the mistreatment against children in the game in a responsible way. One example for recent change is how the child in Twisted Nerve has had an animation change to be sleeping instead of convulsing. I can't imagine why this wouldn't be the case to begin with, but these just aren't random changes made because devs have had a change of heart. They're actually all been brought on by Ready or Not's console launch. There are stricter rules when it comes to getting games on Xbox or PlayStation, which is why the violence of Ready or Not needed to be dialed back. But the devs do stress that all the changes were minimal. The changes with the console version are small enough that most people here wouldn't notice if we didn't say anything. But we want to be transparent, the blog post says. It's largely just evidence and nudity that's altered, and the texture changes don't affect the PC version. The texture changes. Okay, so if the texture changes don't affect PC, But do the censorship changes affect PC? That's the problem. Let's go over to the Steam forums because this is where everything is going crazy. So people are claiming the player base is psychotic. This person said, are the depiction of gruesome violence and sex trafficking really the main selling point for you people? What is wrong with you people? So this is a gaslighter, right? This is a pretty typical gaslighter. This is someone who wants to pretend they're moral policing by saying, oh my God, how could you enjoy this fiction? Right? How could you enjoy this? I don't understand. These are the people who would make you feel bad for liking movies, like old school movies, like or even old school TV shows, anything like the Godfather, anything like that. They will make you feel bad for liking TV shows, movies like that. But apparently you play a video game. It's the same thing, bro. Like it's the same kind of thing. What's the big deal? This is fiction. This is not real. This is literally you in a fantasy universe. This is literal gaslighting, literal concern trolling, and none of you guys are passing off as believable whatsoever. This is important. Are the changes only going to be on console, or will these changes also affect PC? No response. No response. But to be fair, this was 11 minutes ago. So there's that. This person says, final word on the console changes. Oh, here we go. Wait. This is a developer. Perfect. We got some answers. Here we go. So this developer, Kamen Sky, got a lot of clown emojis. Holy shit. A lot of clown emojis. That is beautiful. You gotta love it. 77 clown emojis. He's farming that strong. The final word on the console changes, Master Thread. In regards to changes coming to the game with free LC console update, if you seek further clarification, search for posts from the Void staff on the Discord. I can assure you that if you have any further questions, they've been answered there. Information shared regular, etc., whatever. So, question: what is the reason content had to be changed and altered? Compliance with console storefront regulations and certain regional media laws due to the want of a physical release alongside digital. So they had to censor the game to get it available everywhere. FYI. What has all been changed and altered? Across both platforms, dismemberment of bodies or incapacitated people, and certain instances of full nudity. For example, Port Container, Gerard Scott, and Narcos Informant. Additionally, only on console versions, certain textures pertaining to the exploitation of... Okay, so, guys, we got confirmation. For those of you who play this game, they are going to be censoring the PC version of this game as well. So they're censoring PC, and they're censoring console, and they're censoring PC because of console. This is unbelievable. This is absolutely stupid. What is the point of this? I don't understand. Whatever happened to M-rated games being for adults? I don't get it. Why are we censoring an M-rated game? This is unbelievably lame. Why are you punishing the PC fan base because you want to kowtow to the console peasants and that you want to get... I just don't get it. I don't understand. This is the most stupid thing I've ever seen. Will more content be altered or censored in the future? Yes. I don't care what their answer is. Yes. The answer is yes. 100% yes. They say no, the game has already been certified through ratings boards. The game will not need more changes due to this. There will be more. There will absolutely be more, 100%, no doubt about it. How come only textures are different for console, but nudity had to be removed on PC as well? A different model will be entirely different asset and will require two separate game builds. However, with texture changes, the overall model is the same and will be no different than having a reskin mod where only those who have it installed can see the change. Why does the PC version need altered if it's only console regulations? For sake of parity and better compatibility with cross-play between platforms, with two separate game builds, cross-play would be extremely difficult or outright impossible to add and would increase the likelihood of bugs or other issues. Bro, come on, man. Are we serious right now? Do you think anybody wants to play cross-play in this game anyway at this point? This game has been out for 1.5 years on PC with more than enough of a player base that's pretty damn healthy. I highly doubt these people care about playing crossplay with somebody on PlayStation or Xbox. They really don't care. This is a bad move. You are going to alienate the people who made your game. This being released on PC and being successful on PC, they made your game. And you're choosing to alienate them in order to chase the console money. So what happens if you release this game on consoles and it bombs? You would have just alienated the entire PC fan base to go chase the console money. This is insane, bro. This is seriously insane. I don't see this game doing extremely well on consoles enough to warrant you abandoning your PC. Look at these sales, bro. Look at these sales. You have an estimated anywhere between 5 to 8 million copies sold. And you seriously mean to tell me you're going to abandon all those people for the console players that are barely going to play this game? Dumb move. That is a dumb move. Is there still gore and dismemberment? Yes, the gore systems are still in the game and even have more improved detail models coming from both platforms. The only change is you can no longer dismember already dead bodies further than were at the time of death. You can still shoot bodies and see bullet and blood effects. Will there be any changes to the tone, atmosphere, or storytelling? No, nothing about the game's narrative or missions will be altered outside of the already discussed minor changes to textures or nudity. All topics seen or implied in the game currently will still be there. So, and I'm still going to ask Steam for a full refund on my supporter edition. And you should. You should be able to get a refund. You really should. And this is why when I talk about digital protection is just not there yet. It's sad, but it's just not there yet. This is a prime situation of where you as a consumer of digital products should be protected beyond the status quo, which is like they are changing the game drastically. And I don't care what people say about, oh, it's just minor censorships. Like, bro, they've been playing the same game for a year and a half, and you now suddenly are changing it, not for the better, but for the worse. You are taking things away. And I don't care if it's dismemberment or whatever. You're taking things away. If you were adding stuff, that's different. But you're taking things away from people who bought the game and have had it for over a year and a half. And it's because you are now trying to chase the console dollar that you're not even going to get. I guarantee this game does not do well on consoles for whatever that reason may be. Console players are too busy playing Call of Duty to be playing Ready or Not. They're just not going to do it, right? You might get some people. You're not going to get a lot. You might as well offer it for free on Game Pass or PlayStation Plus or something like that. You might have a better chance at getting players. But at any case, this is a prime example of censorship affecting everybody, right? And they flat out requested a refund. Good. They flat out admit that they're censoring PC for console. And they're like, yeah, well, we're too lazy to have two different builds, and we want to do crossplay so that our servers look fuller than they actually are. And that's why we're censoring you guys so that they could get their censored game. It's like that. It's so stupid. This person says, why are you censoring for this game? I don't agree with censoring this game. There's something I can't stop thinking about. Why can games like Outlast show nudity and gore in a really distasteful way? If you like the game, that's fine. I just find the game's edgy, so not my thing. But this game has to tone it down. I get the game hits differently in feel, but it's no more gorier or nudier. Is that even a word? Than the edgy horror games. What makes these visuals so intense is the realism of the settings the themes are in. Resident Evil 2 Remake's marketing looks how gory this guy has been slashed and half looks, but RON is too much. It just doesn't add up to me. I think it is a combination of console standards, but I also think it's the developers wanted to tone it down a little bit to try to mass market the game. I think they could probably get away with releasing the game pretty damn close to what they have it at now on PC. But the truth is, they probably think through market research, they probably have consultants. They probably believe in their mind that if they release the game on console the way that it is now on PC, nobody's going to buy it. They think the console fan base is probably a lot weaker and probably used to more censorship than the PC fan base is. So they are trying to tone down the games themselves to try to give themselves maximum opportunity to sell this game as much as they can. That's what I genuinely believe is going on here. I don't think it has to do a lot with restrictions on consoles, but I could be wrong. But it just seems like it's the developers trying to maximize the money they can. So I guess we'll see what ends up happening with this game. I don't know when it's going to release on console, but at this point, I am sure that PC players are going to be highly upset over this. I would be very curious to see what happens to the numbers. Again, this is a fairly healthy player base considering the age of the game, 1.5 years, not bad. But is the numbers going to go down? They're starting to dwindle. They were pretty up there in January. In January, they were around 21,000. And they're slowly starting to dwindle down to under 10,000. So we'll follow up with this game and see what's going on. But you guys can let me know in the comments down below. If you play Ready or Not, are you upset that they're censoring the PC version to adhere to console players? Or are you all for this because it's not a big deal for you? Let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys on the next one.